Yes. Spoiler warning. You're like, fuck, I didn't get that far yet. I ain't finished the EO, you dick. Don't worry, Turbo's horrible, don't watch it. You get a fucking child that transforms into a grown-ass man. It's weird.
What,
drive around in
Shazam?
cars. Yeah, bad. Rock got his work cut out saving that movie. Still no goddamn Shazam news. I'm surprised on that front.
Yeah.
But, alright, let's get into the big thing we want to discuss.
Can I just mention one thing?
Yeah.
5 Nights at Freddy's is getting a movie. So yeah, nobody really knows if Scott Cawthon put all the rights over to Warner Brothers. Nobody would think he would do that, but it's still something that may happen. Hopefully it's just the movie rights, because like I've said, he's very dedicated to his fan base. It's kind of out of character for him to do that. But now that the third game has been out, no one's really sure if he's going to make any more games. So anything's up in the air right now, but a lot of people are pretty excited for this. The series of games is just like so different from anything else. It's a point and click kind of game, but like it's so different from any other kind of game, let alone any kind of horror game. And they're going to turn that into a movie, so this is kind of weird. Like, a lot of people think it's going to be sort of like a Paranormal Activity thing.
Alright, here, I'm going to talk directly to whoever the fuck is going to make this movie. I'm not a big Five Nights at Freddy guy, but I know good goddamn movies. The way you have to do this movie, look at me. You need to get a fucking grade A actor. You need to get like a Chris Pratt. Someone who can carry a movie by themselves and be funny. Because you're going to have that sack of shit the entire movie. He's got to be talking to himself. Like, yeah, you'll get phone calls to give him in, like the Purple Man shit. But he's going to be on screen by himself, talking the entire movie. Like, if you try to do, like, a Paranormal Activity, it's going to fail miserably. Yeah. Paranormal Activity is so played out right now. Like, maybe you could work in found footage ideas into the movie. But I think if you try to shoot the entire movie like that, unless you do it as a comedy horror, where, like, it's really funny, but then it goes into jump scares, like, I could see that working.
Yeah.
Do not make the fucking animatronics funny. You will ruin the goddamn movie.
Yeah.
Like,
I really hope that doesn't
not do
happen.
anything, but you need a funny man to lead the movie.
Yeah, they weren't funny per se in the games. Like, you need to, if you're gonna even like I'm assuming Warner Brothers is gonna just kind of tweak the designs a little bit to make them a little more scarier. You got to do that.
I almost wouldn't. I would leave them like that, but I would definitely like. You got to bring in a really good cinematographer. That's number 2.
Yeah.
Your cinematography in this movie has got to be amazing. You have to have somebody. I would look at the guy who just did Fast and Furious 7. I wasn't prepared to talk about this, so I didn't look it up. But he did a lot of good horror movies. I would look at somebody like that. Somebody's got their timing down. Because you got to do a lot of false like scares. Whether it's, him digging through shit and then there's like a head of one of the animatronics in a box. Like something like that where you're like, oh shit. And a big thing you got to do is never show Golden Freddy. Don't do it. You can hint that he might be there, but I wouldn't show him. I would keep him as like a mystery in the background. And at the end of it all, I would say you leave it open by leaving your main guy to survive. And then, I don't know how you work towards sequels in these movies, but I don't know. But big things, I think you need to have a funny guy as your lead or the movie's going to get boring fast. Number 2, don't do found footage. Get a good cinematographer. Make that shit work. And 3, you got to get that timing down. You got to work on building that suspense. But those are my 3 things I think to make that movie work.
Now, from the video game perspective, I am a huge Five Nights at Freddy's fan. I was very happy when I found out that I read...
But you agree it's not going to work if it's a one guy sitting at the
absolutely,
desk.
Absolutely. They have to have him going around doing stuff.
Yeah, he's got to have a flashlight and do it.
And you got to have it in the first game, set at the first game.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, he's got to go through stuff, find the newspaper clippings about the dead kids, and he kind of... That's where the intrigue comes in. He wants to kind of see if he can solve the mystery. Because people and the fans will relate to that. because that is literally the whole community of Five Nights at Freddy's.
You know what I would give a shot on this movie? Johnny Knoxville. I think he could do a good enough job. I think he's out of the box enough where, like, you could kind of get away with him hurting himself and people are going to be like... But at the same time, I think he's funny enough. I think he's charming enough as a lead. I think he could really put in the work. And I think, like, at the same time, like, he's fun enough where you could do this movie and keep it PG-13. Because I think if you try to go for the R, you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, like, this doesn't... Like, I can't imagine this being...
You could definitely hint at it, like, being really scary. I think if you try to do... You have... Alright, number 4. If these fucking animatronics are CGI, just shit onto, like, the fucking digital contraption holding them and shove it straight up your ass. Like, you will ruin the movie. You will shoot yourself in the foot. You need to make these animatronics because they're animatronics. Like, if you try to CG it out, it's going to look horrible and nobody's going to care. Make these things...
I mean, they're all... I mean, come on, guys. They're supposed to be Chuck E. Cheese animatronics. They're not, you know...
Yeah, I mean...
Disney Imagineer bullshit.
You kind of have to step up a little bit from... You know, Chuck E. Cheese level, but...
I suppose so, yeah.
I mean, you want to get that feel where, you know...
They're scary.
You know, they're kind of moving... They're not smooth.
Exactly.
So it's not like you got to spend a crazy amount of movie. Like, the only thing I would really work towards, and I put your money in, is getting the facial expressions on them. Number 5, don't have them talk. Ever. The animatronics talk, shoot yourself in the other foot. Don't. You can kind of have them make weird sounds... But never show them making the sound. Mm. Like, if he sees it on the security camera, like he could see it, like, just doing something, and then, like, he starts walking towards it, you could hear laughing or weird sounds. But never do, like, a weird, like...
You know, that's what they did in the game, like...
Yeah, but you don't want him to get caught.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just saying, like, the animatronics never spoke.
Yeah.
Like the Freddy did the... And, you know, you heard, like, little noises every once in a while. But they never actually talked.
Yeah, so don't have them talk, god damn it.
Despite the fact, you know, the whole premise is, like, you know, they can and, you know, they sing songs and all that bullshit.
What am I at? 6?
Yeah.
6. No gore. I wouldn't show shit. I would very heavily hint towards it. But I wouldn't show anything. I wouldn't have guts coming out of the fucking animatronics. Maybe they could
Maybe not guts, but they need to... Because the whole premise was like...
Yeah, but you can very easily hint towards it to keep it under PG-13. If you
That's
go
true.
gore, it's going to go R.
That's true.
You don't need anything. At the most, you could leave bloody footprints. I'd be okay with that. But that is as far as I would go.
Yeah, nothing too crazy.
To recap, he needs to be funny. He's got to be wandering around. Because if you try to do it all from, like, one control room...
Yeah.
It's going to look like ass. He needs to be out and about. I honestly, like, not just because I'm not particularly into the game, but I just don't know how this movie's going to really work. Like, it's going to be a really big departure from the game, I think, anyway, to make this a successful game. Because, I mean, you're going to get your fans of the game in there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you're going to look at it and you're going to get, you know, pretty good money no matter what you do, especially if they can keep it low budget. Which I feel like they could do easily.
Yeah. I mean...
I think you could do this whole movie and do it really well for $40 million.
Hey, not to mention, because Scott Cawthon is like... He does this all by himself. Yeah. There's no, like, official merchandise. Yeah. They'll probably make a lot of that money back in just merchandising alone. Because every Five Nights at Freddy's fans is going to want a t-shirt or
It depends
whatever.
on what their contract is. I don't know if they can sell merchandise with it.
That's true, but I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm surprised he hasn't done it yet.
Yeah. But
I'm sure if they want to, they can cut it. He gets 50% or whatever.
Yeah.
So, all right.
But yeah, like I said, it has to be in the first restaurant. Luckily, they did get Scott to. He's going to team up with a professional scriptwriter, so he's actually going to be like there doing it, and not a lot of franchises that put out to big movies can do this.
Number 7. Don't let him have script. Like, power. I would let him literally be your lore master.
Yeah.
And that's it. And I don't know him. I don't know. He could be a great writer, but generally in my experience, when you have creators work heavily into creating the story, it doesn't come out great. Like, if you look at Marvel right now, they bring in a lot of comic book writers to kind of look over scripts and be like, yeah, is this right? But they don't write the script.
Yeah, exactly.
And writing something that works in a video game and writing the fucking encyclopedia that is the script for a movie are two different things. Make sure you have your scriptwriter writing the script for your movie.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, like...
Definitely take his advice, you know, but I would not allow him.
Yeah, I think that the whole reason why he's there is because, like, Five Nights at Freddy's is so popular is because of all the hidden lore. Scott basically doesn't say exactly what happens. He just kind of sprinkles it in, and most of the stuff we're still not 100% on. Like, we know that there was a dude, and he killed a bunch of kids.
I think before they get the movie out, though, he needs to save the lore. I think he's going to... That's the other way. You're going to shoot yourself in the foot. If you get, like, a lot of fan theories that come out to be true in the movie, and then other ones aren't true, you're going to kind of alienate those fans. Because you kind of need to have some sort of coherent story you're going for.
Yeah.
I don't think you need, like, this one's true and this one's not true, but he needs to, like, whatever you're planning on hitting, you kind of have to have that out there so people can understand your story. Because if it's like, well, this fan theory, but not this one, everybody who believes in that fan theory is going to be butthurt. I'm just going to tell you.
Yeah. Especially, another problem that might occur is that when he first made the game, you know, he just kind of threw all this stuff out there. In the second game was a prequel. So he had all these new characters, all the new animatronics, and he's explaining, like, oh, the puppet was in the first game the whole time, but you didn't know about it because he didn't make him yet. And then in the third game, he's like, oh, Springtrap. Springtrap was there the whole time, but he was in a secret wall. So, my problem is, he's going to have to... who knows if they're going to have sequels to this? Who knows? I'm thinking too far ahead, but...
I'd be surprised, just because, like, when you look at a sequel, generally speaking, especially if it's not something humongous, you're looking at the same team who's going to make the movie. You probably have a year of shooting, a year of editing and all that kind of good shit, and then you probably got 4 months of marketing hardcore, and then the movie comes out, and then you got a break, and then you're going to go back in and shoot it. So I don't know, like, the way that video games are right now, I don't know if Five Nights at Freddy's is going to be popular in 3 years.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like it's like when the Slender Man games came out.
Yeah.
Those were fucking huge. Slender Man was all over the internet. Now he's just kind of died out, and
yeah, you hear him every once in a while.
Yeah, like he you know, he's still fairly relevant, but Five Nights at Freddy's has completely taken that over, and it's gonna just take one more.
Silent Hill.
Yeah, it's gonna take
the new Silent Hill just gonna kill Five Nights at Freddy hype.
I mean, when PewDiePie or when Markiplier plays a new game, and their whatever million subscribers they have share it with other, and then other people do it, that's going to be the new game that's going to be on everybody's minds.
But I got to say one thing that I think they're kind of missing out on, because it doesn't really so much apply to Assassin's Creed just because it's a bigger game than Five Nights at Freddy's. It just is. I mean, but when you look at some of the other video games they're trying to do, whether it's your Street Fighters, your Mortal Kombats, your Halo movie, your World of Warcraft movie they're trying to do, or they are doing, I guess. I don't know if it comes out this year or next year. I think it's next year. But there's a lot of comic book movies they're doing. Zelda's a big one they've been talking about. Those have nostalgia behind them. I don't know what that's going to mean for Five Nights at Freddy. Like, yes, it's very popular right now. I don't know if a sequel could ever work, though.
Yeah.
I don't know if it is going to do as well as a World of Warcraft. There are people that don't play Warcraft anymore that are still pretty fond of it. You know, they're just like, oh, I don't have the time to play it. But they're going to go see the movie.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know. Because right off the bat, you're probably not going to get a whole lot of adult viewers. Like, there's not that many adult gamers out. I mean, it's just the reality of the situation. No matter how you do it, you're probably not going to be able to get a lot of kids into the theater. Just, that's how horror movies work.
Yeah.
I just see this as like, it's going to have to target very, very hard that demographic of like 16 to like mid-30s. Hard as hell. Or it's not going to make its bank. And I don't know really the best way to do that. Like, it sounds really cool on paper. Generally, you can always do horror movies for pretty low money. Like, even when I said $40 million, that's like, if you went all out, got good actor, did like the best you could. Like, honestly, if they went the Knoxville route, you could probably shoot it for $7 million, probably. I mean, you get good cameras, good editing team, animatronics you should be able to do pretty easily. Hell, you could buy used animatronics and just fix them up to look like them. I mean, you just gotta reskin them.
Yeah.
CGI you really don't need for this movie. After Effects you really shouldn't need too much of. I mean, it depends on what you want to do with the animatronics. If you want them to play a heavy part in the movie, which I would kind of advise against, because I think that you're just going to kind of make them campy and goofy.
Yeah.
I think they need to be in the movie. But, like, I would almost advise against a face-to-face meeting with the Night Watchman and the animatronics. I just feel like if you have that in there, it's not going to be tense so much as kind of goofy watching anybody you have running away from a stuffed bear. I just don't know how you could really make that work. Like, it works as a jump scare. You go, ooh. And you go, but as a prolonged running scene of like...
And see, I think that's one of the things that made the game more interesting, is because, like, sure, you could just get up and walk away from something like that. But in the game, you're stuck there and you're getting cornered by these things.
Yeah.
And, you know...
I mean, I don't want to shit on it. I think anything deserves its chance to shine. I'm really worried about that.
Oh, no, dude, everybody's worried about it.
I'm like, I just don't see how that works on a film at all.
Yeah.
Like, unless you have two night watchmen. Like, if you have one guy who sits in the room and he's just kind of like not doing his job, and like that could be the guy on the cell phone always giving advice to the guy. Like, he can actually see the cameras.
Yeah, if they like repurpose the phone guy.
Yeah, as the guy who's in the room, and like, let's just call him Johnny Knoxville. He's like the guy out there with the flashlight.
The guy it's called Mike Schmidt.
All right, so he's got a name. Mike Knoxville. He's out there with a flashlight looking around. Shit's changing on him. And every night, you know, you kind of build up a little bit more suspense. I just have a really bad feeling, just because, like, I think people are really burned out on those Paranormal Activity movies.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's so fucking, like, nothing happens, 90% of the movie, fast forward, last scene of the movie, it's, like, bad special effects, shaky cam.
I mean, like, if they have, like, this one scene, one quick scene, where he's, like, looking at some tapes just to seeing if maybe he can, like, figure out, like, why the animatronics are doing whatever, or maybe if he's looking at something from the Bite of 87, I don't know. But it cannot be that, like, that movie.
Yeah, you can't have, like, tiny little things change, and you slowly build up towards the last night where shit gets real.
Yeah.
It'll get really, really bad. And I think you're going to see a lot of people revolt. And I don't think you could ever really have him being chased. So I don't know what you could really do.
And, like, maybe if they explore each night of him being there, like, slightly more shit happens. Like, he gets more clues. And, like, he starts to get more and more paranoid.
You know what this movie kind of sounds like to me? It sounds like a combination of Paranormal Activity and Ernest Scared Stupid. Like, I don't know. I just don't see good things. Like, you're going to take, like, you need a master class director to make this work. But, alright,
anyway.
I don't want to make fun of this movie anymore. Let's go back to DC, because we kind of left there. The Wonder Woman stuff, their director left after 5 months. That's not good. There's been a lot of rumors. I'm not going to spread rumors. Some of them were pretty stupid, so I want to hope in my heart that they're not true. Like the animal sidekick one, I don't know if you heard about that.
Oh,
they wanted Wonder Woman to have it. That's the big rumor. I want to assume that's not true. And there were some other ones, but I don't know. But, alright, so she's out. Michelle McLaren is out, and they brought in the woman who was going to direct Thor 2 before she had creative differences and left Thor 2, Patty Jenkins. So I'm just kind of like, huh. Like, I remember the big fucking story when Wonder Woman was getting ready. Like, that we want a female director.